Hey, honey,
Stand by to launch
no,
FanStream
my
Sports.
microphone's much more sensitive today.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Thursday, Victory Thursday edition of the JP Peterson Show as Liam Coen has chosen Tampa Bay over Jacksonville, making him the 12th million person to ever do that in the history of the two cities, choosing Tampa Bay over Jacksonville. Welcome in this morning. It's a good one for Bucs fans as Liam Coen is going to stay in the fold. We'll get to that big story. Scott Reynolds is going to join us at 10:30 to get his perspective on Liam Coen. How did it go down? How's it going to move forward? We have our thoughts. Not a lot of information coming out of One Buck Place officially right now, so we're getting into tea leaves. So we'll get to it. We got some Rays news to talk about. The pissing match continues with St. Pete. We always love to talk about that. We got title games coming up this weekend. All kinds of fun stuff to get to. Good morning to you, Tim Ham, from our Dallas affiliate, where you are freezing your tush off. It's 37 degrees here today. 37 degrees.
Well, we got you beat by about 10 degrees. It's about 25, 26 here this morning.
Oh, my son Cullen has us all beat in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
It's -3 this morning with a feels like of -20. Come home, son. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I had a chance to move to Chicago in about 2001 to take over a job up there. And I took a trip, and it was in November, I guess, when I went up there to just feel out the company and look for housing and stuff. I had a newborn baby and another one on the way at the time. And I spent about 3 days in Chicago, and I was like, F this. I'm never coming back here again. No. And I turned down the job, and I was like, nope. And I haven't been back since. You cannot pay me enough money to live there.
We should do that as a topic in the summertime. Job interviews gone wrong.
Yes,
I've had a few myself. So, and we've got one to talk about here with the Jaguars and the Buccaneers. Man, you know, I want to as we get into the show here. And by the way, thank you guys for your comments. Please jump in. Already, Lonnie is in. Can I put these up? Yeah, I think I can. We're working with a little different.
I can put him up if you can't, Lonnie.
There it is. Lonnie Wilkins says he wouldn't have chosen Tampa Bay if JP didn't wear his creamsicle hat. You're damn right. You're damn right, brother. Right there. There it is. And when I went on Good Morning Football and said he ain't effing leaving, and they said, we'll see, which was awesome. By the way, Peter Schrager on Good Morning Football put out a great tweet today. Just basically saying a lot of what we said yesterday on the show. You know, credit Jason Light, credit the Glazers, credit the entire organization. I'm going to get into this in a little bit. And of course, I had to retweet that and said, you remember when I told you he's not effing leaving. And he liked my tweet. Peter Schrager liked my tweet. Oh, it's such a good day. So
we got to try to like his like.
Yeah, you got to like his like, right?
I'm going to like his like.
We got a bromance going back and forth. Oh, Peter! I was watching him this morning on Good Morning Football, waiting for him to, invoke my name. But
yeah, never did though. Huh?
Sadly, that did not happen.
I feel like they keep a pretty tight run sheet on that show. I don't think they have a lot of room for extra commentary.
Well, I told you when I went on the show and the producer sent me the emails, basically outlining my 6-minute stretch with all the questions were already printed out for the hosts and everything. It's like, I'm like, damn, that's the kind of prep we do at the JP Peterson show every day.
Because they get
17 producers producing each and every segment. Yeah, that's what's going on.
They get to read all their stuff off a teleprompter. We don't get to do that.
Teleprompter? Who's got a teleprompter?
Every one of them.
I do at Lightning games.
Yeah.
No, but you could tell, as I said, some like Akbar gave me the question word for word. The other guys kind of used their own language to ask the question, similar question, because they've been around for a while. But anyway, as we get into it, as we talk, it actually was so cool. If you haven't seen yesterday's show, go check it out because the news broke about 10:15 yesterday. Adam Schefter that Liam Coen was not taking the interview in Jacksonville. He had an in-person interview, and he just decided not to do it. Now, the dominoes that have fallen since then are really, really interesting. We had our good friend Rick Ballou on from 1010XL in Jacksonville, and I went on his show as well. And I went on his show like 2 weeks ago when Liam Coen first surfaced as a candidate for the Jags job. And I told him, I said, I think Liam would be a great head coach for the Jaguars. Absolutely. I think it would be a great pick. But I'm just here to tell you that he's probably not coming. And he's like, why would you say that? I said, because the Bucs are not going to let him out of the building. I believe, in my humble opinion, that the Glazers and Jason Light value him tremendously. And he said, well, are you kidding? They're going to fire Todd Bowles? I said, I don't know if they're going to fire Todd or find a way to keep Liam as a coach in waiting, but there's no way they're letting him out of the building. He said, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. And it was a big story in Jacksonville. And a lot of people scoffed at it, obviously. Or why would he turn down a head coaching job for an OC job? They're still, my good friend Dan Hicken and some others in Jacksonville they're all just absolutely mystified why Liam Coen would do that. And 3 hours after Liam Coen turns down the opportunity to interview for the Jags job, Trent Baalke is fired, their general manager. I mean, and this is something that the fan base and just about every talking head in Jacksonville has been talking about for quite some time. And owner Shad Khan just did not get it. He just did not understand. And you go back and look at Baalke's resume. It's replete with absolute flops in draft picks. He's hit on some. I mean, do you credit him for drafting Trevor Lawrence? I mean, it's not a home run yet. He hasn't become a great quarterback, but I guess you get credit for that. Brian Thomas, do you get credit for that? It's the most obvious pick ever. But whatever, he's made a couple of good ones, but a lot of bad ones. And obviously, there's no coach. You're signing off on hiring Urban Meyer. I mean, my God, how bad is that? Yep. And some of the other, and Doug Peterson, he hired him, and Jim Tomsula, Jim Harbaugh couldn't work with him in San Francisco. I mean, I don't understand how guys like this continue to get jobs and keep jobs. And finally, after being hit over the head with a frying pan 17 times, Shad Khan said, you know what? Let me twiddle my little mustache here. Maybe this Trent Baalke guy is the problem. Maybe Ben Johnson doesn't want to come. I should be doing an Indian accent, but people will kill me, right? Trent Baalke doesn't want to come here. I mean, nobody wants to come here because of Trent Baalke. I mean, duh. Liam Cohen's not coming. Ben Johnson's not coming. You got a great quarterback to work with, allegedly. Nobody wants to come. What do you think the problem is? Maybe I should fire Trent Baalke. Oh! How do people get so rich who are so dumb? I don't get, how does that happen? Anyway.
Yeah.
Or is it, when you're that rich, you just don't listen to other people. You don't value their opinion. You think you know everything. I don't know. I don't know the dude. All I know is he's a terrible owner. And ever since he's owned the team, he's a nice guy. It seems like a great businessman. He's doing a lot for Jacksonville. That's fantastic. All that is great. I mean, we have issues with other owners that don't do any of that. He just doesn't know how to win and hire people. And clearly that has been the issue with Trent Baalke. So now the Jags job is open. Now, I know some people say now that Baalke's gone, does Liam Coen come back to the table? I don't think that's a thing. I don't think. I think this agreement that the Bucs have with Liam Coen now, reportedly at $4.5 million a year to be the OC, that's not OC money. That's close to head coaching money. Yeah. Now the rumor is that's what Todd Bowles was being paid. The Bucs never released that contract. But there's been some reports that's what Todd Bowles would be made. There are some people that are making a big deal out of what's Liam getting paid, what's Todd getting paid. I don't care. And I don't think it's a problem within the culture of the Buccaneers. And again, we keep coming back to culture. One of the big reasons that Liam Coen stayed was the culture. And it's one of the reasons we thought he was not leaving. Wants to work with Baker Mayfield. Great culture. These guys are a family. Camp Kumbaya. All these things that we've been talking about. This is when it matters. Oh, does culture help you win? Yes, it helps you win. This is when it helps you win. You got guys that want to stay. Mike Evans taking less money. Baker Mayfield taking less money. Levante David coming back. We talked a lot about this yesterday, but it bears repeating here again today. It's the culture, stupid. And that's the reason why the Bucs are able to keep the band together in a lot of different ways. You saw this with the Lightning as they built their championship team with Steven Stamkos taking less money, Hedman taking less money, and setting the example. Now, they're getting other considerations, tax breaks, and all those other things. We get it, but still, you could get more money other places, and they're staying for a reason because the culture that Jason Licht's built. Todd Bowles gets credit for this as well. The Glazers get a tremendous amount of credit. And it's just not, and there are a lot of people that were like, wow, you're turning down a head coaching job to stay as an OC? Yeah. Number one, it's Jacksonville. So is it really an NFL head coaching job? Number two, it's Tampa Bay. And yes, that matters now. This is a prized destination because of the ownership and what the Glazers do for the players. And when things come up, I mean, you look what happened in the tragedies of Shaq Barrett when he lost his daughter and how the Glazers wrapped their arms around Shaq Barrett. To hear Shaq and his wife talk about the organization during the hurricanes, moving families and dogs to safety, all the things that the Glazers do that they don't have to do. And this is what makes Tampa Bay a destination now, a prized destination. It's where people want to stay. It's where people want to grow. I mean, obviously, it's paradise. This is where people want to live. Ben Johnson, you're in Chicago today. Yeah, you're making $14 million, but it's really cold. It's not. It's cold here too, actually, but not for long. But not for long. It'll be 70 degrees by the weekend. So obviously, this is something that helps you win. Building this culture and Liam Coen staying. Now, is there a succession plan? We're going to be talking to Scott Reynolds here in a few minutes, and as he mentioned many times, you can't put that in a contract because of the Rooney Rule. You can't have a succession plan written into the contract, but it's done. See Jared Mayo. Same thing happened with him, and everybody understands that was the succession plan. And I think if you're paying attention, there's a succession plan here in Tampa Bay. Now, when does that happen? That's up for discussion, and probably it's in the hands of Todd Bowles more than anything else. If he continues to win and there's progress, I mean, you could debate whether this year was progress. To me, it wasn't. But, that's for the Glazers to decide. But clearly, at this point, they see a Todd Bowles, Liam Coen reconstruction or moving in the same direction here as a way forward. And I with Casey Rogers interviewing with the Packers defensive line coach, you can see there may be some changes on the defensive staff. That may be something that was agreed to. As we told you on Tuesday when that first started leaking out, that was another brick, in the wall saying, okay, I think Liam's staying because there's, if everything was status quo with Todd Bowles, then I think Liam might be going. But that wasn't the case. So you saw there was some movement. And we also heard the deafening roar of silence coming out of one place. Yes, the deafening roar of silence. There was no statement from the Glazers about what the conversation was in terms of coaching. Hey, we met with Todd Bowles. These changes are going forward, blah, 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 blah. There was none of that coming out because everything was still in flux. And is Todd Bowles going to be the head coach this year? I believe he will be. Will he be the head coach the following year? I don't know about that. That's probably up to Todd Bowles more than anything else. So I think in the end, this is the best of all possible worlds. I mean, you could argue that you still have the same game manager in Todd Bowles, which is something that needs to be addressed in a lot of different ways. And I don't know how you do that without having a different head coach. It's just that's more of a philosophy about the way he does things. Not as aggressive as a Ben Johnson or a Dan Campbell or a Sean McVay or a lot of these younger coaches that are getting after it on fourth down, not just on fourth downs, because clearly Bowles has improved in that direction. We pointed that out all during the year. He has definitely been more aggressive. Has he been aggressive enough? I would say no. I would say no. There have been plenty of opportunities where he could be more aggressive, and he leans on his defense too many times to win games. We've detailed this throughout the season. So I think, whatever you see, we can bitch and moan about Todd Bowles and this, that, and the other. The bottom line is they're moving forward with Todd Bowles, it appears. Now, if something were to happen in that regard, would it shock me? No, it wouldn't. I still think there may be, there could be a change. We don't know. It looks like at this point, if there was going to be a change, that would have happened yesterday. There would have been an announcement, but who knows? They may be still working things out. I don't know. And until they come out and definitively say this is how we're moving forward, then I think there's room for speculation. But what is clear is that Liam Coen is not leaving, and that's the most important thing. And this offense will perfect in the offseason, not install. This is a step forward. Right now, we're moving into the perfection phase, self scouting, getting better at what they did last year with the same people for the most part. Now, will they add a couple pieces in the draft? Maybe, but you're pretty much set. The only big question mark now on the offense is Chris Godwin. Is Chris Godwin coming back? My guess is yes. I think, again, goes back to culture. Does he want to leave? Will there be a huge market for him in free agency? I think with two major injuries in the last 4 or 5 years, I don't think there will be a major market. I don't think other teams value Chris Godwin the way the Bucs value Chris Godwin, and I think that's a good thing. So I think you're looking at a team-friendly contract to bring back Chris Godwin, and I know he's a priority. He's a priority to Bowles. He's a priority to Liam Coen. And I really don't see now. People talk about why don't we just replace Godwin with Tyreek Hill? You're really messing with your culture in that situation. You're getting a much more dangerous receiver. That's for sure. Does he fit in the offense? You find ways to figure out how the cheetah fits. But to me, the biggest question is culture. He is completely the antithesis to the culture of this team. He does not fit the DNA of this team whatsoever. And from a salary standpoint, I haven't looked at his contract, Tim, but my guess is it's onerous, right? I think there's huge dollars. Now, obviously, a lot of these are big contracts. The bonuses are paid in the first couple of years,
Right.
And then the salary becomes a little bit more amenable. So I don't exactly know. If you look that up, we can find out, because that's the bonuses have already been paid. So that's
Right.
not on the Buccaneers. So I'm not exactly sure where he is, but he could have huge salary cap ramifications. And I'm not here to pay Tyreek Hill $35 million a year. That's going to crush your cap.
So his cap hit next season is $28.7 million.
That's a no-go.
And then he only has 1 year left on his deal for 2026, but there's a potential out, but it's a $15 million dead cap hit if you cut him for 2026. If you have him on your team in 2026, it is a $51.8 million cap hit.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Not even.
He ain't playing anywhere in 2026 for that.
Yeah, no, he's going to have to restructure his deal, which he might do, which is fine. But unless there's a major restructuring of the deal, then it's not. And still, I would rather have. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I would rather have Chris Godwin than Tyreek Hill at this point.
Yeah, I am not the least bit interested in having Tyreek Hill on my team. I don't think you're talking about it from a culture standpoint, and he's not a bad guy, but just bringing anybody new like this that's been a number one receiver like that before, he still thinks he's a number one receiver. You pairing him with Mike Evans and with a strong personality like Baker Mayfield, I'm not interested in that. I'd much rather bring Godwin back. He fits. You know where he fits. He knows where he fits.
Yeah,
and he's a lot cheaper.
And he's a lot more effective in the run game, which is important to the Buccaneers. Tyreek Hill is not going to be doing a whole lot of blocking.
No,
and Godwin's a huge part of that, and he really helps that run game go. So I think it's an unneeded distraction. Look, if they could get him at a decent number, 15 million, and he said he would come in and not yell and scream, I don't know. That's kind of up to Jason Light. they'd have to sit down with him and really do a lot of due diligence. Listen, the Chiefs got rid of him for a reason. We see what happened in Miami. He's older and he is getting more injured. No question about that. There were times when you don't even know if he wanted to play or was going to play, and then quitting on his team for the most part, very AB-ish. I just don't think that's something that this team needs. I think it would send a very bad signal.
I don't know if One Bucks Place, I have not been there live in person. You have. I don't know if One Bucks Place is big enough to facilitate bring your kid to work day for Tyreek Hill. I mean, I don't know if it's big enough for me to do that.
But. Yeah, I know. It's not. They did build an indoor facility, but still,
right.
That's a lot of kids. That's a lot of kids and baby. And then you also got to make room for the baby mamas.
Yeah.
That's a lot of reserve seats.
He's got 7 kids with 4 baby mamas, I think. See, I only have 6 kids with 3 baby mamas.
And then you go to extended family, which there's a lot of that going on.
All the stepbrothers and
yeah, we're gonna have to build a compound. Yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot. So yeah. No, so I think we're good there. So Liam Coen stays in the fold. People can bitch and moan on X and everywhere else about who's getting paid more and what's disrespectful, what's all this other stuff. You know who doesn't care about that? Todd Bowles.
No.
Todd Bowles. You know who doesn't care about that? Liam Coen. You know who doesn't care? The Glazers. And I'm here to say that the Glazers are not going to insult Todd Bowles for money. Okay? They're not doing that. And yes, if Liam Coen got a bump, Todd Bowles probably got a bump. Yeah, I think they're not going to do anything stupid or penny pinching like the Rays would do to upset the culture of the team. They're not going to do that. I mean, how many times do they need to prove to you that they'll spend the money to do what it takes to get the job done? And Liam Coen is an example A. I mean, who's paying their offense coordinators $4.5 million? The Bucs of Hugh Culverhouse, the Bucs.
And they may very well have brought Todd Bowles in on this decision with Liam Coen and said, hey, look, here's what we're going to do. All right, we want to keep him here. You want to keep him here. We're going to bump up his salary. We're going to take him off the table for Jacksonville. And alongside that, here's what you'll make next year too. Are we good? Boom. There you go. Everybody's involved. Everybody's happy. Now fix your damn defense.
Yeah. Now go fix your damn. Yeah, exactly. Fix your damn defense. And as I mentioned yesterday, that's the other beauty of this. All right. You don't have to go find a new OC. You don't have to spend time interviewing people. You can spend time on acquiring defensive players. That's a big deal. That is a big deal. The offense is good. This is why it was so important to keep him in the fold. All right. So the offense moves forward. You have a championship Super Bowl caliber offense that was taken from 23rd in total offense to third, 29 and a half points a game, fourth most, the worst running game to one of the best. I mean, and this is all when you added Liam Coen, Graham Barton, Bucky Irving, and Jalen McMillan. So, yeah, there were some pieces added, but there's no question, if you're paying attention, Liam Coen was the key to the whole deal. And so he stays. Now you can perfect your offense and get it better. And now you can work on your defense and use all your resources to fix the defense. If you're the Bucs, you are in a fantastic place. You have your quarterback, you have your OC, you have your play caller, you have a great group of young offensive linemen that will help you pave the way in the run game. You have the best balanced offense in the game, which should help your defense. Now go find some edge rushers, go find some corners, find an inside linebacker. You got a whole draft to work with. You got a lot of salary cap money to work with. Now, here's the other development yesterday that is take a hit, and that's the loss of John Spytek, the assistant general manager to the Raiders. He was Tom Brady's teammate at Michigan for 1 year. He was key in the Operation Shoeless Joe Jackson that brought Brady to Tampa Bay. And that's the reason he's in Las Vegas with Brady. Now, I mentioned this yesterday. Does this put Liam Coen in play for the head coaching job with the Raiders? I don't know. I don't know. But my guess is that the Glazers were thinking ahead. And this is why I believe that there is a handshake agreement to make Liam Coen the next head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because it's not just the Jags job. I think the Raiders job is very much in play, very much in play. And John Spytek, who would be his first choice? He's worked with Liam Coen all year long. He knows what he's worth. Brady knows what he's worth. Brady praised him endlessly on the broadcast and spent time with him talking about Liam Coen. Absolutely, he would be in play for the Raiders job. You think the Glazers want to lose Liam Coen to Tom Brady and the Raiders? F no.
That would be a disaster.
No.
A PR disaster.
Not only would it be a disaster for your team, but it would be a gut punch. It would be a gut punch. Because, Tom Brady, obviously, and the Glazers have a great business relationship. A great business relationship. We know what went on. All right, we all know what happened when he tried to retire, and the Dolphins were tampering with Brady, and Brady was listening during the playoff run. Okay? Let's not get this twisted. Are the Glazers and Brady, everybody hunky-dory, rainbows and unicorns in public? Sure. But let's not get this twisted. When the Miami Dolphins and Stephen Ross were coming after Tom Brady while he was playing for the Buccaneers in a playoff run after they won the Super Bowl, you know whose phone was open? You know whose door was open? Tom Brady's. Takes two to tango. And what followed? Retirement, calling of the bluff, the BS retirement, then the return to the Buccaneers, the loss, the alleged code red ordering of Bruce Arians to be fired and Todd Bowles to be installed. My opinion, backed up by a lot of information. We'll read it in the book someday. Either Arians' book or Brady's book. I don't know whose.
Or JP's book.
Probably Arians, but maybe my book. So let's just understand the dynamic working between Tom Brady and the Glazers. Very respectful, competitive, and there in no way the Glazers want to lose that battle. No freaking way. So I would say that whatever agreement was made with Liam Coen yesterday, it includes wrapping him up from not only taking the Jags job, but any other jobs. Because why? He's going to be the next head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers whenever that happens. Whenever that is decided to happen. Maybe this year, maybe next year, maybe a following year. I don't know. But if he wants to be the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, there's no way in my mind that Liam Coen would agree to anything otherwise. Why would he? He has all the leverage right now. And if you're the Bucs, why wouldn't you offer that? Why wouldn't you? It's a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer. So we don't need to see it in writing. We don't need to hear it in an official statement. You can figure this out, folks. The Glazers are smart, and they got a lot of money, and they understand what the future of this franchise is and where it's headed. And it has a lot to do with Liam Coen. And he ain't effing leaving.
Let me throw a wrench in your discourse here, JP.
You going to pee in my coffee?
Spytek taking over the Raiders. What if he doesn't have Liam Coen on his radar? What if he's got Todd Bowles on his radar?
Seriously? Come on, man. You know, that's not nice. That's not nice. You're a jerk. You're a jerk. You're a jerk.
Just saying.
You want to hear me say it? You want to hear me say it?
Yes.
Come on, man.
You never know.
I am going to keep this respectful.
You never know.
Say, so they're going to choose between Liam Coen and Tom Brady's going to choose Todd Bowles.
Hey, you never know.
Coming up next. Coming up next.
That's an ender.
My new co-host.
He's taking applications, by the way. Send in your tape.
Scott Reynolds from the Peter Report will join us, and Tim can ask him that question and see what he says.
Oh, I
We're
should.
brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. Scott Jeeves is one of the best attorneys, if not the best attorney in all of Tampa Bay. He is aggressive. They are local. They are trusted, and they get results. The Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. Go to their website. You can get a free case evaluation for any legal matter whatsoever. If you're having an issue with an insurance company, give the Jeeves Law Group a call, JEEVESLawgroup.com. Back in 3 with Scott Reynolds.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite.
I love it.
So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
So many of our Tampa Bay neighbors are finding out the hard way from Hurricane Helene that homeowners insurance does not cover flood damage. You must have flood insurance. It's a separate policy. Immediately call Italiano Insurance at 813-877-7799, and they will shop around to find the best policy before rates go up. Lock it in. Over 60% are underinsured in Florida, or you're not getting your discounts that you're entitled to. So do an insurance checkup at Italiano, and they could save you thousands of dollars. Italiano will make sure you're with a highly rated insurer, so there are no surprises in your time of need. Our hearts go out to all our neighbors devastated by Helene. These are the times we're proud to protect all the pieces of your life. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. Old Hurricane Helene put a hurting on Tampa Bay, and for many of you, the rebuild will be a long process. You must beware of unscrupulous contractors offering up quick fixes for incredible prices. It's a scam. So go with long-standing reputable companies like Third Generation Plumbing and AC. My friend John Rodriguez has been serving Tampa Bay since 1995 with hundreds of 5-star reviews. If you need a new AC system or any home repairs from Helene, they will work with insurance companies to get you taken care of quickly, expertly installed, of course, and a 1-year maintenance plan and 10-year warranty included on all AC units. 0% financing for 60 months. Contact them at thirdgenerationplumbing.com or 813-961-8024. That's 813-961-8024, thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Let's go! Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here as we roll on this Thursday. Brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo, now in the concierge medicine business. So if you're looking for a new primary care and someone to be your advocate in all health situations and also guide you through this minefield that has become all these diseases and everything else that's coming at us, get your immune system robust like mine. Somehow I've been able to avoid this crud that's going around. Well, it's not somehow, it's because I have a great doctor in Chris Lugo who gets me on the supplements I need to be on to keep me healthy. You can do the same thing. Go to Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Find out what it's all about. More affordable than you think. Concierge medicine, the wave of the future. Have Chris Lugo in your medical corner. All right. Do we have Scott on? Is he available?
We do. We're ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready to see this handsome lad, see what his hair looks like today. Oh, fabulous cough again, once again.
Thank you.
Reynolds.
Howdy,
What's up,
howdy.
partner? How are you?
Good. How are you?
Busy day yesterday.
Yeah, sorry to
Busy.
bail on you. I felt really bad about that.
No,
But the
dude,
Liam Coen
listen.
news just happened.
No.
We did an emergency podcast, and
I know. I listened to it. It was very well done.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah.
No, you guys did a great job as always when there's breaking news. We happened to be on during that time, so
Yeah.
it was great. But I knew we'd get you eventually. So now
For
we
sure.
have the benefit of about 24 hours since this has kind of gone down. And well, it's didn't come as a surprise to you or me,
Right.
that Liam Coen was not effing leaving.
Yeah.
What to best of your information? How did this whole thing go down?
He turned down a lot, right? Because Jacksonville is offering a head coaching job, more money too. And the interesting thing is Liam Coen did not ask, nor is there anything in the contract that says that he's going to be the head coach in waiting here. So he's betting on himself. And I think that he understands this is a really good situation. When you look at Todd Bowles, the reason why Todd Bowles has had some success in 2022, 2023, and 2024, and it may sound like a little bit of a weird thing coming off of a season where the defense was down, right? This was an offensive driven football team last year, but the reason why Bowles has had some success winning these NFC South championships is because he's been here since 2019. He had a hand in picking all of these players in the draft, right? Starting with Devin White in 2019, the first round pick, and now White's no longer in the team, but helped win a Super Bowl with this team. And so when the baton was passed from Bruce Arians to Todd Bowles in March of 2022, Todd Bowles could hit the ground running because his defense was in place, the players were in place, his system was in place. We all see the writing on the wall. Todd Bowles will turn 62 in the fall, and he's not going to coach forever. He's gone on record saying that he's not retiring this year, but he's not going to coach as long as Bruce did. Bruce retired at age 69, so Todd Bowles is certainly closer to the end of his career than the start. Right, with Liam Coen, I think it's a matter of kind of playing the Ben Johnson game a little bit, and you might end up being the eventual replacement here for Todd Bowles, maybe as soon as next year, maybe it's a couple years down the road. But to go to Jacksonville, which is such a heavy rebuild, and at the moment, Trent Baalke was the GM, right? Who knows who the GM is going to be now? But even putting that aside, you've got a proven front office that nails draft picks.
Yeah,
you're going to have even more say-so and clout in the draft coming off of your wonderkin season that you had here in Tampa Bay. Oh, and by the way, the organization recognized that and leveled you up in terms of the pay bump. So I think Liam Cohen's going to have a better seat at the table when it comes to the draft. This will be a defensive-minded draft, but they still need another wide receiver, a starting caliber wide receiver, to be at that number 4 spot. You can't have Mike Evans going into a contract year at age 32, even if you re-sign Chris Godwin, which they will at age 29. Those guys are closer to the end of their career than the beginning. You have to have the eye in the future. Jalen McMillan had a great end to his season, but you need another guy in the hopper, another starting caliber guy, just in case you lose a couple guys. You can't go with Ryan Miller and Raheem Jarrett and Trey Palmer again. So I think when it's all said and done, it was the right move for Liam Coen. Jacksonville's setup is nowhere close to what he has in Tampa. Not just a quarterback, offensive line, the deepest running back room in the league, wide receiver, tight ends, and more importantly, he assembled this coaching staff here in Tampa. They're all on 2-year deals, which means he could only take one guy to be the offensive coordinator in title only with him to Jacksonville, right? Everybody else, you can't make a lateral move if you're under contract in the league. So he would have to start over, not only hiring a defensive coordinator and an entire defensive staff and a special teams coordinator, he would have to come and only bring one offensive guy with him to Jacksonville and leave all of his assistants behind. It's a heavy rebuild in Jacksonville in that situation.
There's no question about that. And I think not only would working with Baalke and all that rebuild be a problem, you don't know how you're going to get on with Trevor Lawrence. You don't know if he's the guy. You don't know that. You know all that.
Well, the contract says he's the guy, but is the on-field performance, does it sync up with that?
Exactly. And that's a problem as a coach because
you're saddled with him.
Yeah, that becomes a hindrance if he's not the guy.
Right.
And I would say, and I would ask this in terms of Liam Coen. And you brought this up a couple times that with the Rooney Rule, you cannot even build into a contract a head coach succession plan. That has to be kind of a wink and a nod behind closed doors.
Yes and no. I mean, legally speaking, right? That's something that like a minority guy could challenge and say, well, wait a minute, Tampa Bay's in clear violation here. Like another team could file a grievance against the Buccaneers saying, well, we had to adhere to it, but the Buccaneers don't. Right. And even though it happened in New England the way it did, with the minority coach and Gerard Mayo replacing Bill Belichick, the Patriots still violated the Rooney Rule, because the Rooney Rule is clear. For general managers, head coaches, and coordinators, you must interview 2 minority or women for that role before making a hire. So yes, essentially Gerard Mayo counts as 1, but there were no other interviews that certainly were made public to satisfy the Rooney Rule. So technically the Patriots are in violation of that themselves. So if the Buccaneers decided to do that, which they didn't do, but they could sit there and say, wait a minute, the Rooney Rule doesn't mean crap if you're not going to enforce it. You didn't enforce it with New England, so you have no right to enforce it on us. It's either enforceable or it's not. And you chose not to enforce it, so really it doesn't mean a damn thing. Like that could be argued, right?
Yeah, no, it's a good point. And with Liam, he's got the money. Like if the $4.5 million that was reported, I have no reason to think that's not right. That sounds what you're going to need to keep him if he was going to get a head coaching job. Yeah. You know, and what's interesting is when you look at Ben Johnson, he parlayed. I don't know what his salary would have been last year, but I'm guessing it would have been around the $6 million mark. Mm-hmm. If had he taken a gig last year, he would have been at the lower level. But proving yourself a second year, then being the most desirable guy on the market, pushed the Bears to a level of like 14 million. I think that was reported. So when you look at if you're Liam's agent saying, hey, this ain't a bad gig either. Take your you're guaranteed now if it's $4.5 million over 3 years. 13.5 million. Did the math there real quick. You're guaranteed that. Right. But now, if you follow in the footsteps of what Ben Johnson did, you're this precedent has been set to really cash in big number wise.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And again, that could be in Tampa Bay too. Like
that's right.
Like that's Liam Coen could simply be just raising the price tag for the Blazers and for Jason Light. And obviously, again, Todd Bowles is going to retire sooner rather than later. He'll determine when that is, or if he doesn't perform in the field, the team will retire him.
That's right.
And I think the other thing too is he's not naive to the landscape, right?
Right.
We were probably you and I were probably the only media outlets that like openly talked about it. But I mean, what happens if the Buccaneers lose to the Saints? Finish 9-8, yet back into the playoffs, right? Because the Falcons ultimately lost. The Falcons falconed. But how would people think about Todd Bowles? You had a chance to win the division and you didn't. And then the Falcons gifted you the division. You backed into the playoffs. You backed into the NFC South Championship. It would not make it as legitimate, right, as winning it on the field.
I agree.
So then it's like, where's the progress? You won 9 games in 2023, but then you won the playoff game and you advanced to the divisional rounds. And in this situation, this hypothetical here, he would be 9 wins. So there's no improvement in the regular season. And then you lose. Now you have a 1-3 record in the playoffs and there's no improvement there either. Right. I mean,
losing another home game.
Yeah. If that scenario happened, Todd Bowles might not be the coach of this team.
I agree.
Now, my last name is not Laser or Light, so I don't have to say so. And I'm just reporting on what seems pretty clear to me.
Right.
And having said all that, if you're Liam Coen, you're thinking, well, the Blazers maybe have never fired a coach in season before, but man, if I'm kind of like the in-house runner-up here, if this team gets off to another bad start, they might decide to pull the old switcheroo, and then all of a sudden I'm kind of a head coach even sooner than I expected.
Right.
Not that he's hoping for that. Not that the Lasers or Light or Bulls is hoping for that. Certainly not Bulls. But I mean, when looking at all of the possible scenarios, like that's one of them.
And Tim, if you want to jump in here, please do. But I want to pick up on that point right there. In kind of an interesting way, if Todd Bowles wasn't feeling the heat to improve, make changes on the defensive side to get this defense where it should be, he certainly has. I think it's disrespectful to put it this way, but it's a reality. And I think it's kind of what you're hinting at is that, listen, you don't step up. Your replacement is right there.
Right.
And not
Exactly.
not in a mean way. This
Right.
is business. This is football. And it's competition. It's like drafting a quarterback when you already got one. It's like
drafting Bucky Irving when you have a 990-yard rusher on Rashad White and then saying, may the best man win. That's really what it is. It's competition. And no competitor in this league or any professional league should back away from that, should back down from that. You want to keep your job? Win more games. It's that simple. I mean, and I'm not disparaging Todd Bowles, and I'm not anti-Todd Bowles. I like Todd. I think he's a hell of a guy. I think when he's on top of his game, he's one of the best defensive masterminds in the league. Yep. He just has some of those screw-up games where you lose to a Cooper Rush, and Jacoby Brissett back in 2022 and PJ Walker, like things that just come on, you can't do that. And yet we've seen that. We've seen the game management issues, whatever. But my whole thing is if you're a defensive minded head coach, and let's say Todd Bowles was a walk around coach, what would we all be saying right now? Fire the defensive coordinator, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, he's the defensive play caller. And honestly, I'm glad that the defense was as bad as it was, not just during the season. And it got masked a little bit with the offense shining so brightly. It kind of got overshadowed a little bit. And also beating up on a lot of teams like the Giants, the Raiders, the Panthers twice, the Saints at the end, things like that. But more importantly, I think that playoff game, and people look at the points and say, well, the Lions, they got destroyed by
different games.
Apples and oranges.
Exactly. Two completely different games, played differently, different style. The Commanders went for more of a ball control type of game, and it worked successfully. But when you don't allow a punt, when you have 0 takeaways on defense, when you allow a 55% conversion rate on 3rd and 4th downs combined,
and 11 more minutes in time of possession.
Right. And 1 sack, that's not good any way you slice it. And if you just look at the 23 points surrendered like a simpleton and say, well, look what they did compared to the Lions, then honestly, you don't know football, and I can't have a conversation with you because you don't understand what all went into that. But the fact that it bottomed out the way that it did, the fact that this team had 7 interceptions and 6 from the secondary. And when you look at, I want to say, and I don't have the numbers handy, I said on the podcast yesterday, I believe the defense had 8 less takeaways than the year before, which is significant. That's a significant drop off. This is the first year under Todd Bowles where they didn't have at least 20 takeaways between interceptions and fumbles recovered. I'm glad that happened because there's no escaping that. That's been pushed into the spotlight.
Right.
And now it's the
numbers back up what you see. A very soft defense.
Yes. And if you don't get it fixed this year and it's on you to fix it, then we have to make a change. That's really what it's coming down to. Unless this defense really rebounds and takes big steps forward. And I have gone on record as saying, I think they need to make some defensive assistant coaching changes.
Agreed.
I think they need some fresh young blood into the organization. Monty Kiffin did that when Herm Edwards left to become the head coach of the Jets, when Lovie Smith left to become the defensive coordinator under Mike Martz out in St. Louis. Both of those guys left. They were peers with Monty Kiffin. They were older, experienced assistant coaches, and he could have gone that route, but he didn't. He and Rod Marinelli, who again were peers age-wise and experience-wise in the league, he went to the college route and got Joe Barry and got Mike Tomlin. And both of those guys were 15 years younger than Kiffin. And they brought energy, new
Russ,
ideas, and you had a perfect mix of experience and age versus youth and energy and fresh ideas. And guess what? They won the friggin' Super Bowl the next year because of the defense. Lo and
Yes.
behold.
Yes.
See, I think this whole idea of head coach in waiting, I think this whole concept is completely overblown. And I don't know who makes it overblown, if it's us talking about it as media members or if it's just people who are writing the articles or what. But every head coach in the NFL or college or at any level knows that his successor is potentially right over his shoulder as the coordinators, right? He knows
Good
if
point.
he doesn't perform well, then most likely 9 times out of 10, one of these two guys, one of my coordinators, is going to be the guy that succeeds me if they fire me mid-season or at the end of the season or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's kind of an understood concept in the league. If you're a head coach, you know that's a possibility.
Yeah.
And the whole given a title of head coach in waiting, I think that's something that we talk about more than is actually a thing. Now there may be a whisper agreement, a handshake agreement between a GM and another guy or whatever. And that's great. But you can't tell me every head coach in the league doesn't have that in his brain that if I don't do well this season or if I start off slow this year, one of these two guys is probably going to replace me. So I've got to do my best. That's just part of the job.
Yeah, I agree.
And also going forward now that we've got some continuity, Coen's coming back.
Yep.
It's going to be Coen's offense again.
Yep.
The guy that's probably the most happy to hear that is Baker Mayfield.
Yes.
Oh my God, I get to keep a coordinator for a second year. Holy crap.
I know.
Never happened in my career before, probably. But now we turn our attention to the rest of the offense, the offensive line, the free agents, obviously Chris Godwin. You want to keep your offensive line, some continuity there. I know Bredeson's an unrestricted free agent, Hainsey, Newman. What if you know, Scott, maybe you don't know yet, how much of a priority are these guys going to be for in-house free agents? Aside, we know Godwin's going to be a priority. Aside from Godwin, who do you think are they going to prioritize here?
I think there's really only a couple guys. I think it's Godwin first and foremost, and they're not going to franchise tag him because that would be too prohibitive. They've already franchised him twice. So, and it hurts his negotiation ability a little bit that he's coming off of the injury. But the Buccaneers have rolled the dice on Chris Godwin in rehab before, and he was coming off a more substantial injury with that knee injury a couple of years ago. And, all he did was get 1,000-yard seasons up until this past year. And so this is a lesser injury, the dislocated ankle. He should be able to make even a quicker and more full recovery from that, because he didn't have like the ligament damage to the knee and all of that stuff. So he's number one. I think Ben Bredesen, the left guard, you bring him back on a 1-year deal with a raise, maybe a 25% raise, give him $4 million. He's not going to. First of all, he loved playing next to Tristan Wirfs. He loves playing in Tampa. Shocker, right?
Right, exactly.
New player coming to the Buccaneers are like, wow, Tampa's great,
Culture.
Yeah, exactly. Not just that, but like he's played in Baltimore. He's played in New York. I mean, like, Florida. It's fantastic, right? So
this just in.
Yeah, this just in. Breaking
Except
news.
for today.
Yeah, well, still, even, But having said that, I think he comes back. And then if Elijah Klein, or let's say you draft another offensive lineman, maybe on day 3, you throw another guy into the mix, may the best man win. If Ben Bredesen at $4 million is your backup, remember he played center too, because you're probably going to lose Robert Hainsey in free agency. But you've got Bredesen, who is your backup center and your backup guard. Let's say Elijah Klein wins the job, or he's your starter and then he's also your backup center. That's great value.
Yeah.
Levante, we'll see. He's 35 today. Happy birthday, Levante.
Happy birthday, Levante.
And will he want to play one more year? Chances have certainly increased with Todd Bowles' return. He loves Bowles. He respects him. We'll see how the body feels. He's got about a month off before free agency starts, maybe about 6 weeks to kind of make that determination whether he wants to come back. And then it's how much, right? I don't know that you pay him as much as you did last year. Maybe it's closer to $5 million rather than $7.5 million. Maybe it's loaded with incentives. We'll see. Levante slipped in coverage last year. He wasn't the same player. He's still fantastic tackling.
I was going to ask you, if
blitzing.
there's a Shane Bond out there or something like that, would you, if you're the Bucs,
Zach Bond?
Zach Bond, yeah.
Yeah.
If there's a guy out there, and I think there are a couple of those guys,
yeah,
would you look to
Oh,
replace
no doubt.
him?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you look, right. You're always looking to upgrade, right? I remember Mike Tomlin telling Rondé Barber for years, like I'm trying to replace you. And it's your job not to be replaced. And I think that's fair. And he was saying that to a Pro Bowler in Rondé Barber in 2001 and 2002 when Rondé was winning that team a Super Bowl. But Rondé was getting up there in age. And so he kept saying the same thing. And when he left, Raheem Morris was saying the same thing. Like, we're drafting corners. And maybe one of these guys might replace you. That's up to you,
kept doing
Rondé.
it, and they never could.
That's right. And they never could. So, yeah, you want to get younger at the position. Servassier Dennis is a guy you pencil in as the starting middle linebacker. Very short sample size there in the first 4 games, but he showed he could blitz. Actually sacked Jaden Daniels. It's hard to do. Ask Kalaisha Cansey. Ask Yahya Diaby. Very hard to do that. He sacked him. He's better in coverage than any of the Bucs linebackers. So, but he's got the injury history, so you can't count on him. You have to put him in pencil rather than pen, but he's one. You probably re-sign J.J. Russell as a restricted free agent. If Russell's inside linebacker 4 on the depth chart, that's probably where you want him.
Yeah.
But then you need 2 more guys. You need another guy to challenge Servassier to start. Then you need another guy playing next to him. Is that other guy Levante? Do you try to break the bank and get an all-pro like Zach Bond, who's 28, who will cost a fortune? Is that the route to go? Do you draft one? This is not a good linebacker draft. There's literally only probably a handful of good linebackers in this draft. Our mock draft comes out at 5 o'clock today on pewterreport.com. We actually have them drafting an inside linebacker. So stay tuned to find out who that is. So yeah, that's a big position of need is inside linebacker for sure.
Nice.
And also on the defensive side, corner is a big issue, and edge rusher. Do you think they look for a free agent edge rusher or a draft edge rusher or both? I think the answer is both.
It could be both at the same time. If you look at the depth chart, right, JTS is going to be gone. You probably want to re-sign Anthony Nelson.
I agree.
If he's outside linebacker 4 or 5, that's fantastic. That's really good value.
Yeah.
If Chris Braswell is outside linebacker 4 or 3, while he develops, he's still worth developing. Yaya's number 2. We have to all agree. Yaya's number 2. He's not number 1. He's number 1 by default right now, but they don't have a number 1. So you want to go out and find that alpha edge rusher. Does that come in a first-round draft pick? Jason Light that's his kryptonite position. Noah Spence, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, Yahya Diaby, the best one so far as a 3rd rounder. Chris Braswell, 2nd rounder last year. Where's the success, right? So maybe you go back there. I like your idea, JP. Flood the position. Go get a free agent guy and then draft a guy. Now, Khalil Mack is a really interesting name because he probably has a year or 2 left. Still very effective. He is that alpha guy that comes in, future Hall of Famer, that could be that Jason Pierre-Paul type.
Yeah, he's
that
got
leads
a lot
the
of
room.
JPP in him.
Yeah, that leads the room, that shows the guys the little tips and tricks and all that stuff.
I love it.
That certainly George Edwards won't as their position coach. I think Edwards should be fired. I don't know if I've said that before or not. Maybe that's breaking news out of my mouth.
I think you have made that perfect.
He's a linebackers coach. He's not a pass rush coach.
I don't think you're the first one to say that either.
Exactly. Yeah. So
in Dallas or Tampa.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly. So to me, you try to get 2, and again, if it pushes everybody down, if Yaya's fighting with the 1st round pick for playing time, so be it. Be the best man win. And then you've got your alpha. Let's just pencil. Let's just say it's Khalil Mack, or maybe it's Josh Sweat. Those are a couple of names to keep in mind.
I like both of those.
I do too. Now the other thing is if you pursue a trade, and I know everyone's connecting the dots. Well, Max Crosby with the Raiders, they just signed John Spytek to be the GM. Could a deal happen? Maybe if you fleece John Spytek, but John Spytek's no dummy, right? When you have the chance to get Jason Pierre-Paul for a 3rd rounder from the Giants, you do that deal all day long.
Right.
Is there some value in getting a 28-year-old Max Crosby for a 1st round pick? You can kind of say that because you're already getting a dude, you're already getting a proven performer. If that's what it costs, you give up the 19th, right?
All day long.
If it's more than that, if it's a first and a second, then you got to kind of weigh that, because what are you giving up? You might be giving up a starting edge rusher and a starting cornerback, and you need both just for one guy.
I'm just laughing because can you imagine what that conversation would be like between Jason Light and John Spytek?
Yeah.
Who've been like attached at the hip for how was that John been here 5 years, 6 years?
Since 2016.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine what that conversation is like?
Yeah.
I don't know if that deal
Come
can
on,
get
Jason, you're not going to fleece me. Come on, John, you're new at this, like, come on, man. Let's help each other out here.
Should I offer my hypothetical to Scott that I gave to you right before we went to break?
Let's do it. I love it.
Yes.
All right. So, JP was all, of course, John Spytek and Liam Coen. Bob, what's if he's still trying to maybe draw Liam Coen to the Raiders? And I said, what if John Spytek's not necessarily interested in Liam Coen?
Mm-hmm.
What if he's going after Todd Bowles?
Don't think that's happening.
I'm just throwing out there a what if, okay? I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, if that's the case,
anything's possible.
Then maybe you listen, right? The Blazers have already dealt for a head coach. Maybe they want to receive some picks for that.
You think we'll get 2 1s, 2 2s, and 8?
No, not at all. Not at all. But yeah, interesting theory though. It's interesting premise.
Hey, if I wanted clicks, I'd write about that today, but I don't know if I can even twist that to make sense.
That might be the bait of the clickbait right there.
You can't quote me because I didn't answer. I just laughed.
He laid out on me when I mentioned that.
Right. I mean, I will say this: if you look at, because Trey Hendrickson's another big name that might get traded out of Cincinnati. I don't think the Browns are going to move Myles Garrett. He's just too much of a cornerstone there. But the thing is it better to sign a free agent like a Josh Sweat or a Khalil Mack and then have all your draft picks? And they only have 6 this year. They don't have 6-rounder.
Exactly.
But you have all your premium picks, and you address that need in free agency rather than spending draft capital on a Hendrickson or a Max Crosby if you can pull the trigger on that deal, if those teams want to part ways with them for X amount of draft capital.
Right.
Knowing Jason Light, I don't think he wants to part with the draft picks. He's just had too much success in every round. Tristan Wirfs in the first round, Antoine Winfield Jr. in the second round, Tyke Smith and Jalen McMillan in the third round, 4th round Bucky Irving, 5th round Zion McCollum. I mean, like, he's hit on a building block starter in every round. He doesn't have any weaknesses in any of the rounds outside of like 7. But I mean, 7's a throwaway pick. So
tell that to Brock Purdy.
Well, yeah, exactly. But I'm just saying, like, to me, I think Jason is more apt to want to either wait until the draft and draft one, or what I would prefer, which is sign an older pass rush guy to your contract, Khalil Mack, and then draft another guy to essentially replace Khalil Mack, in a year or two.
Right.
And that way you have then you have 2 options outside of Diaby, right? Then you've got Chris Braswell on the hopper, and then the new kid. So, and then you have plenty of depth, you have plenty of young talent for hopefully somebody other than George Edwards to develop.
And your edge rushers in the draft, I mean, Abdul Carter is probably going to go top 3.
He's gone, yeah. I think you would have a couple of guys that excite me: Mike Green from Marshall, Princely, Yamani Malian from Ole Miss. He was a former Florida Gator before then. Those are 2 guys that immediately kind of jump off the page for me. But it's a deep
Michael Williams from Georgia, who obviously Todd would know.
Yeah, I'm not as high on him. Not saying he's not a good player. It's just the kind of like it was a Trayvon Walker situation. The production, the lack thereof scared me a little bit. James Pierce from Tennessee, I don't know if he's going to be there. Jack Sawyer in the second round out of Ohio State. Yeah, he's a.
I think he's great value, man. Donovan
Ezeraku from Boston College, who destroyed Florida State. I mean, he's
so what?
All he does is just make plays in the backfield, and so those are some guys. Like I said, Yamani Malian from Ole Miss.
You put any one of those guys with Khalil Mack, and I want to go watch a little bit more of his tape. From what I saw this year, he can still bring it. He's got that body type, and he's got the resume too. I think, and you mentioned JPP. From what I hear, I've never met the man, but he's very much the elder statesman, very mature, an absolute, just maniacal about his craft. You know, a Dominican Sue type. You know,
exactly.
And keeps his body in great shape. Yeah. I think you combine a young pass rusher, one of those guys you mentioned, with Khalil Mack and Yaya Diaby and Vita Vea and Kalijah Cansey. Holy freaking shit!
Yeah.
You have changed your pass rush in a dramatic way.
Yeah, and the thing is I did like a little bit of a deep dive statistically into the Bucs' use of the edge rushers, because they had a combined 12 sacks, which is pathetic. It just is 4.5 sacks. Yaya Diaby led the room. Nelson had 4, and then you sit there and say, well, like, why was it so bad? And then I went and looked at the Pro Football Focus stats, and they keep track of how many times they rush the passer versus how many times they drop in coverage on pass plays. And Yaya Diaby had 7.5 sacks as a rookie. He only dropped into coverage 9% of his snaps.
Mm-hmm.
That increased to over 17% of the snaps.
Crazy.
Including that fateful 2nd and 10 where Daniels hit Austin Eckler for an 18-yard gain, right? You know what I'm saying? So
with Yaya Diaby chasing in coverage with his back to the quarterback, terrible technique, exactly what you would expect from an outside linebacker trying to cover one of the premier pass catching running backs in the league. That is what you call getting out coached.
Well,
they knew it was coming.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's Todd Bowles waving the white flag and saying, "I don't trust my 4-man pass rush, so I have to blitz."
Right.
Okay, well, maybe you're dropping the wrong guys in coverage. These outside linebackers between, and I want to say it was just under 300 snaps combined between Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, who dropped about 25% of the time, Anthony Nelson, who dropped just less of that percent of the time, so in the high 20s, 22, 23%, and then Yaya at 17. So out of nearly a combined collective 300 pass drops between all those guys, those 3 guys surrendered an average of 88% completion percentage and only had 1 pass breakup. 1. So to me, that's not good return on investment. When you're taking your best pass rushers and they're not rushing the passer, they're dropping into coverage. It's terrible value, first of all.
You're hurting 2 things.
Yes.
You're hurting your pass rush and your coverage.
Yes.
But it looks really smart. It looks
smart if the blitzing inside linebacker or the blitzing defensive back gets there, but that's not been the case
on the whiteboard.
Too much
Smart, not on the green board. On the whiteboard, it looks smart. The green board, not so much.
Right. Yeah. So we want to chastise Yaya Diaby for not getting more sacks, but he had 99 pass drops. I would have rather. How many more sacks is he going to get with 99 more opportunities to rush the passer? Probably 3 or 4.
Article, by the way. But that article was fantastic, by the
Thank
way.
you.
I talked about it yesterday on the show.
Yeah.
Go read that. SR's Fab 5. All right, partner, I could keep you all day, but I'm sure you got life to live. So I appreciate your time.
Sure,
as always,
absolutely.
Tell everybody what you guys are doing today and the rest of the week.
Yeah, mock draft today at 5 o'clock on pewterreport.com. And then we have a special prime time mock draft show tonight at 8:30 on Pewter Report TV. That's our YouTube channel. Myself and Josh Capo, who are the masterminds behind our mock draft. We're going to be answering your questions, going over each pick in the mock, and listening to the yays and the nays for some of our picks. So make sure you check that out. We're going to be doing this 5 times during the offseason starting tonight. We have 5 mock drafts every year, one before the Senior Bowl, one after the Senior Bowl, and then one after the Combine, and then one in early April, then a final one prior to the draft, a couple of days before the draft in April. So you can find all that on Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel. We're going to be in Mobile, Alabama all next week at the Senior Bowl. So we're going to be having primetime podcasts.
Snow shovels.
In the snow, yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to be bringing our parkas and our shovels to Mobile. Make sure you check that out, pewterreport.com. We have all of the stories and all of the off-season coverage. And then on social media, at Pewter Report on Facebook, Instagram, and X.
Well, enjoy your luxury hotel at the Gulf of America.
Yes.
In Mobile,
Gulf of
Alabama.
America. Love that.
On the lovely Gulf of America.
Love that.
It's so beautiful.
Yes.
It's so beautiful.
Yep.
All right, Scotty. Thanks, buddy.
You got it,
Appreciate
guys. Take care.
See you, man.
You're the best. Scott Reynolds, Pewter Report.
So real
I
quick,
love
JP,
saying
have you heard
Gulf
the
of
latest
America.
the latest conspiracy theory is why Trump renamed it to the Gulf of America?
No.
So it's to counter, because Joe Biden had signed into law that you can't start any more offshore drilling in the Gulf of Mexico.
I know.
So he changed the name of it to America. So now they're not starting new drilling in the Gulf of Mexico. They're drilling in the Gulf of America.
And people will say, well, that's ridiculous. You can't do it. I'm like, you know what's ridiculous? Signing a stupid order like that on the way out the door. That's what's ridiculous.
And by the way, he
So
can't.
you
do
can
that
tie
too.
up all new stuff in illegalities and make America less safe and make America less, more dependent on foreign oil when we don't need to be. But that's great for the country. That's exactly what Xi told you to do on the way out. So good job, Joe.
Trump's
Great
playing
job.
chess while everyone else is playing checkers.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into some of these matchups coming up, the AFC, NFC title games. We got some Rays stuff to talk about. The pissing match continues. Good God. And so much more. We're brought to you by Italiano Insurance. Folks, get that insurance checkup. They do all the work. Check out all the different companies they represent to see if they can find you a better deal. Not only just in terms of price, but in coverage as well. It matters if your coverage is up to date. 40% of people don't have enough coverage. So when you go to get your check, they say, sorry, your house is worth $500. You only had it insured for $250. That's a bad deal. That's a bad deal. Go to Italiano Insurance and make sure you got everything right. 813-877-7799. Back in 3.
Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or copays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com. Hey guys, why not kick off 2025 by popping the question? Yes, and you know where to get that perfect engagement ring. It's the Gold and Diamond Source. The best prices, the best quality, and yes, get her a real diamond. You don't want to go with the fake stuff. And January's birthstone is garnet for all you FSU fans, right? Get 15% off all the unforgettable garnet jewelry at the Gold and Diamond Source. Also, discover Emilique by Emily Johnson Weintraub, a sleek and modern jewelry line that makes everyday gifts extraordinary. And don't forget, you have any unused gold? Turn it into cash or a stunning new piece. With gold prices soaring, there's no better time to trade up. You can do it all at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Omerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves. If you're going to hire an attorney, do you want some guy looking for a quick settlement and a quick buck, or do you want an attorney with some chops? Scott is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator. Been practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. He is a peer-reviewed AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer. They just don't hand out those classifications. He's been the lead class action counsel on many complex consumer protection cases and has handled hundreds of serious personal injury cases. He's dedicated his career to protecting injured victims and is committed to vigorously representing you. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. Personal injury and personal attention. Call for a free case evaluation. That's 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. The Jeeves Law Group.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show right here on FanStream Sports as JP eases his way back into his easy chair.
I got a heating pad today.
Are you cramping?
No, I got a heating pad. Oh, what happened to it? There you go. There we
It's
go.
like maybe you needed you had a cramp from the show.
No, I had to reach down and reactivate my heating pad to get my ass hot.
Oh, because the timer turns it off, doesn't it? Yeah, that's how it
Yeah.
works.
I'm like, wait a minute. My ass was a lot hotter when we started this thing. Ew. That's what she said.
I'm pretty sure my Todd Bowles take chilled everything down here on the show.
How funny is that? Like, how funny is it? He had the same exact reaction. He laughed. He laughed. He was like, you and your gotcha question. You should be a senator.
That's right.
On a house
Gotcha.
confirmation committee.
That's right. Hey, anything's possible in this day and age.
That's for damn sure. Anybody can be president now, for God's sakes. Good God. I mean, seriously, isn't that the truth? Like back in the day, you had to have some chops, Like you're going to be president, you had to be like a 5-star general,
Yep.
nuclear engineer,
War hero,
a superhero,
yeah.
you had some chops. Now it's like, I was a senator for 2 years, and I'm a billionaire real estate guy. Why not me? Don't get mad.
That one's worked out okay. That one's worked out okay.
I think so. It was funny. Like I was saying this back when I was a young lad. We need a businessman to run the freaking country. Like we need somebody who's not a career politician, who looks at things pragmatically and like will run the country like a business. And it just, you understand as you get older, you understand it's a political machine. And those outsiders are not welcome because everybody inside the machine doesn't want them to expose their corruption and all the bullshit that they're doing. And this is why, this correction was widely needed. Is he the guy? Is he, the greatest guy to ever be the president in terms of his moral and ethical standards and some of the stupid things he says? No, absolutely not. But it's a lot better than the corruption that we've had for freaking decades and insiders. To me, I'd like to see, some people from the outside. This was supposed to be a citizen government, right?
Yeah.
For the people, by the people, and not career politicians and career bureaucrats running everything. That's not the way this was supposed to go down, but it's what it's become. So hopefully a little bit of change will make it a little bit more honest, a little bit more effective for the people, because we are getting screwed big time. All right.
Let's cross our fingers.
You want to do some comments here? You're in charge.
Yeah, you know what? Before we do comments, I'm going to pose a question because I would like everyone, and it's going to be the honor system. I don't want you to look this up. I just want you to know. If you know, you know. As we head into championship weekend, we do have a JP Peterson FanStream Sports trivia question for everybody.
Okay.
If the Washington Commanders win the NFC title game, Dan Quinn would become the 8th head coach to lead 2 different teams to the Super Bowl. Of course, he took the Falcons to 51. Who is the first? Or if you'd like to just name any of the other 7.
Oh, I know. I got it.
You want to just do it, or you want to give everybody a chance? Or maybe tell us who the first was, and then everybody can just, if they know any of the other 7.
The first was Don Shula.
Very good.
Who took the 1969 Colts to the Super Bowl and lost. Yep. And then famously was hired by Joe Robbie and the expansion Miami Dolphins. They were just expanded in 76? Yep. Or no, I'm sorry, 66. It took Don Shula, and he took them to the Super Bowl in 1971 and lost to the
Dallas Cowboys.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Dallas Cowboys, and the great oh God, who was your running back that ran all over us?
Dwayne Thomas.
Dwayne Thomas. Yes, 1971. Yeah, Roger. That was Roger Staubach, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Staubach. Yeah. So that he was the first. So there have been 8 coaches.
There have been 7. Dan Quinn would be the 8th if he's able to do it.
Okay. I got a couple other in my head. So I'll let the rest of the guys. You guys fill it up in the comments with other coaches. But I did have the first. Thank you very much.
He did. Yeah, he was the first.
Thank you very much. All right. You want to get
let's
to
go to
some other comments here?
Yeah, let's do it.
By the way, congratulations to Madison Keys, 29-year-old American, upset Iga Swiatek at the Australian Open, 5-7, 6-1, 7-6 in the third, in a sensational match I'm looking forward to watching later on today. And we have an American besides Serena Williams and Venus Williams to hopefully heading to the finals of the Aussie Open. All right, go ahead.
Let's see. James, we were talking about Todd Bowles and Liam Coen. If it's a handshake agreement exists, I'm sure Todd is involved and not left in the dark. Yeah, I don't know they're going to leave Todd in the dark about anything like that. But, I'm sure he was maybe not asked, but I'm sure he was at least told about it before the announcement was made that Liam's coming back. I have no question about that.
I don't know if that's the case. And I don't think that's, it kind of goes to what you were saying and what Scott was saying about everybody understands the situation. Okay.
Yeah.
If you bring you draft players to take other players' jobs. Other coaches know that this guy is on the staff and might replace me. It's just part of the deal. Everybody's replaceable. And if you don't perform, you're done. The word meritocracy has been thrown around lately, and that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be. And everybody is handsomely compensated in these positions to know that if you lose your job, you're not going to be out on the street. You'll be highly compensated. It's the competition. You either get the job done or you're gone. That's the way it works. Welcome to the NFL. And you know who knows that better than anybody and embraces it? Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles, he's a big boy. They all understand what the deal is. He knows if he doesn't get it done, his replacement is waiting in the wings. That's it. And you know what? It's in his best interest to tell Liam Coen be the offensive coordinator because that's his best chance to continue to win.
Yeah.
And if he continues to win, he will keep his job.
Michael LaRue says
if you believe, or if you're Todd Bowles, and believe me, there are some coaches that believe this way, and they're not around very long. They're more worried about the guy behind them might take his job instead of embracing it. Say, oh yeah, guy might take my job, but you know what else? His offense is going to score 33 points a game. If I can't win with that, that's on me. That's on me. So, yeah, if you don't like that as a head coach, you're not going to be a head coach for very long. You have the wrong mindset. And trust me, Todd Bowles does not have that mindset.
Michael LaRue says the Raiders don't have a quarterback and they won't get one in this year's draft. It's not a good job. Well, I don't think he's going there to win this year. He's obviously going there to build a new culture and work with Tom Brady, who hopefully will lend a little bit of credibility and success to that franchise that has struggled. I mean, since Al Davis died, really, but even before that, it's struggled to maintain credibility and to remain relevant in the league, much like the Cowboys are doing right now. But so that job is a project for Spytek. At the very least, it's a project.
If I'm the Raiders, and I'm John Spytek, I mean, what do you think their game plan looks like? I think it looks a lot like the Buccaneers game plan for the last 3 years. Go find an experienced quarterback, hello Sam Darnold, who is resurrecting himself or has a chance to resurrect himself, and bring him in and pair him up with an offensive coordinator he's worked with or is comfortable with, and go draft some good offensive weapons. You got Brock Bowers.
Yep.
You bring in a Sam Darnold, Brock Bowers. You add a couple more pieces on that offense, and you got a team that can win right away. And I think Spytek is definitely going to be looking for his Baker Mayfield. Who is that guy? And right now, I would say it's Sam Darnold. It might be Mitch Trubisky. I think there's a couple of guys out there that could fit that bill. I don't think, and to your point, they're not going to probably find one in this draft. I think right now, if you're a franchise without a quarterback, the new 50's the new 70 or whatever we want to say for Bill Belichick, or 70's the new 50, whatever. It's like the new way to build your team is reclaim a quarterback that's probably been in some bad situations, that's got some talent and has matured. Hello, Geno Smith. Hello, Baker Mayfield. Hello, Sam Darnold. You don't have to go, tank for somebody. be a terrible franchise. Oh, the Raiders are already there. You can go pick up a guy who can come right in and win.
And there's a ton of young quarterbacks out there that have failed at their first stop, that are probably available for on the cheap via trade or just when they're a free agent. Most of those guys aren't signing long-term contracts with their next team. It's on a 1, 2, or 2 year deal.
Justin Fields, is one of those guys.
Justin Fields and Russell Wilson are both available right now. Yeah. I don't know that the Steelers are bringing either one of those guys back.
Right. And if you're going to be their quarterback,
if you're Las Vegas, how about bringing in a Russell Wilson? I know he's 38, but dude, he's still got it. He's not going to be your long-term answer.
Yeah, I would look at a Darnold or Trubisky myself.
Sure,
I think those are those guys got talent. They can run. They got good arms. They've matured. They've been in the league a while. If you can't get him to play, either one of those guys to play good football, I think that's organizationally. I think those guys are good enough. If you surround them with some talent, you can go get 10 wins, 8 to 10 wins. I mean, I think that this reclaiming of quarterback, I think, is going to be the wave of the future. I really do. I think there's guys that get into bad organizations all the time, and you want to point the finger at the player when it might be the other way around. It's the organization, it's the coaching, it's the players around them. Yeah.
Yep. James also commented, Tim has been hitting the bottle this morning. Well, there's no question, James. I mean, it's after 9 a.m. Central Time. Yeah. I'm hitting the bottle at some point. Jude Jetson says, right, Tim, fix that damn defense and hire me as the timeout clock manager coordinator. Well, they need one of those. I wonder what that job would pay, by the way. If that's all you do is you have a headset up in the booth and you're whispering at Todd Bowles, take a timeout. Take a timeout.
So this is something I gotta lower this mic. Woo.
Oh no, he's getting hot.
It's getting hot, bro. them cheeks is burning.
JP's on fire.
I have to just turn this sucker off. Holy moly. Woo. Anyway, we do a lot of things live on the air here.
We do.
Yeah, I mean, fix the damn defense. But here's the thing that I don't even know if I should bring this up, but it's kind of been talked about in the media because there's been some questionable use of timeouts, obviously. But then we were told someone's on the headset that they've hired someone. We haven't really, and people are like, is it Jackie Davidson? She's kind of the analytics person. So is she the one is she on the headset telling them when to take timeouts and when not to? I don't know. Like, who's that? Like, what is the process now? Is it Todd Bowles? This is kind of something we need to delve into in the offseason to find out what's going on. Because it didn't get any better this year. That's for sure.
No.
I think it might have gotten worse, actually. Given what happened in the playoff game, which I'm still not excusing.
No.
Even though it didn't come into play because your defense couldn't get a stop. At the end of that game, you should have had 1:40 left to play with instead after the field goal was kicked. Instead of, had Jay Daniels not converted to 3rd and 1, the clock would have been down to, I think, 45 after the field goal was kicked. And it should have been 1:40 or 1:30, which is a huge difference when all you need is a field goal. So, yeah, that was a major, major screw up. And I asked Bowles about it afterwards, and his answer was, he said, we also had a personnel issue, whatever,
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on, but we need to probably find out more about that.
James says, I can't believe we're in the weeds of Rooney Rule violations. I'm sure Todd Bowles is happy Liam is back and on board with any decisions of his future with Bucks. Todd Bowles just wants to win like everybody else.
Yeah, we're just talking about that to get a feel for whether there's a handshake agreement to be the next head coach. And honestly, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If Liam Coen wants to be a head coach in this league, he's going to be a head coach. I don't see him going the way of Byron Leftwich or Bobby Slowick or what have you. When you're hot, you're hot. You need to strike while the iron's hot. We see that if you're an OC. But it also worked out for Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
It really worked out for Ben Johnson. He bet on himself, and he probably double or tripled what he would have been making had he gone last year. And I forget what jobs he was up for last year, but
Yeah. It was a bunch, though. It was a bunch.
Yeah, it was.
He was being linked to Philadelphia when Sirianni was on the hot seat.
Right.
Nathan Elliott, Todd Bowles got the talk. If you want to be the head coach, then you have to make some defensive coaching changes. That's why Casey Rogers did not get his contract renewed.
Yeah, and of all the assistant coaches, Casey Rogers was in charge of the defensive tackles, and they were probably the bright spot of the defense.
Yeah.
So that's kind of weird. I would be looking at Kevin Ross and maybe some of the linebackers and defensive backs coaches, George Edwards, who we've mentioned. And yeah, there are definitely some candidates for some replacements. Look, if I'm the Glazers, I want a new DC.
Yeah, that's where I'd be going.
Yeah.
Like, that would be my first move, and then let that DC go hire his staff.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's how it's supposed to work.
What the hell's going on with the Saints? Do we even hear about their head coaching vacancy?
So Mike McCarthy's got a has another interview there. I just saw something. They got three candidates they are now looking at. It was McCarthy, Anthony Weaver, and Mike Kafka.
Oh, Anthony Weaver.
Yes.
We have Ashley's high school colleague. They didn't date.
Oh, wow.
As far as I know, but they went to high school together. So we might get Anthony Weaver on the show here soon.
There you go. They can reminisce while we just talk football behind
ask him live on the air. Did you date my wife when you were in high school?
Let's see. Nathan Elliott also. Bucs sign an interior linebacker and a defensive end. Draft their future replacements with high draft picks. Re-sign David. Draft his replacement. Get LG to push Bredesen.
Yeah, I like all that.
I mean, that's the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah, no, I love all. And what's beautiful about that is the Bucs have some salary cap room now. They are a desirable place to go. People want to come here and play. So I'm very interested to see what Jason Light comes up with in this offseason as far as free agents goes. Obviously, he's been able to work the draft tremendously well, but now he's got some room to go make some deals. I would love to see Bredesen back. But I know they like Elijah Klein too at left guard. So
yeah,
another great light draft pick. I think he'll turn out to be like that kid.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Let's see. James says Khalil Mack. No, he's 34 and had 6 sacks. You make a big trade for Max Crosby. Okay, well, why are the Raiders getting rid of Max Crosby? That's not going to happen. Khalil Mack is a free agent.
Yeah, exactly. And again, what are you giving up? Do you really want to give up 2 1s or a 1 and a 2 to get Max Crosby? I mean, he's a proven guy. I know that, but if you could find one in the draft, and at 19, there'll be some decent guys there. You got to do your homework and find the right guy.
Hernando finally makes an appearance. Did Stu tell yet? Did I miss the breaking news?
Let's take a break and come back with the Rays pissing match. I got some thoughts. All right, do we have any other great comments we want to get to?
Nathan Elliott made a guess on our trivia question. Shula, Reed, Dungy, Schottenheimer, I think. Shula's correct. Andy Reid is correct. Dungy and Schottenheimer, nope. You're 50%.
Yeah.
50% there.
Dungy never got to the Super Bowl with the Bucs.
No.
I'll come back. I'm not going to Google, but I'll come back with a couple others.
Yeah, Andy Reid, of course, with Philly in 04, Kansas City, 2019, 20, and then 25, 28, 29, whatever.
Yes.
Good God. It's happening.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, did George Seifert take the Panthers to the Super Bowl?
No, they never went to the Super Bowl. He made it to the NFC Championship game in their first season, right? In '96.
Yes. It was second season.
Was it the second season? Yeah, because the Jags and the Panthers both made the title game in their second season. Yeah, as expansion teams.
Yeah. So,
I will tell you, there's one name on this list that I would never have guessed. Like I could have gotten the other ones, But there's one name on this list I would have never, ever, ever in a million years figured out.
All right, give the question again to the folks before we go to break.
If the Washington Commanders win the NFC title game, Dan Quinn would become the 8th head coach to lead 2 different teams to the Super Bowl. He, of course, took the Falcons to Super Bowl 51. The question was, who was the first coach to accomplish this feat? And, of course, JP answered correctly, Don Shula. But now we're going for the other, I guess now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the other 5, because we've answered Don Shula and Andy Reid. So there are 5 more on our list. Head coaches.
Doesn't have to be winners, but just Super Bowl coaches.
So you coached the team to a Super Bowl. 2 different teams to a Super Bowl.
All right.
So there you go.
All right, quick break. We are brought to you by the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source. January is a great time to pop the question. Get 2025 off to a roaring start by getting engaged to that lovely woman that you love so much. Go to the Gold and Diamond Source. Get a real diamond, not a fake diamond. You don't want to start your relationship with a fake diamond. Bad sign. And, of course, you want to get what you pay for. So go someplace where you know that you're going to get a real diamond, and it is what they tell you it is in terms of its cut, its clarity, and that is the Gold and Diamond Source. Plus 0% financing. You can get it there for 3 to 5 years. All the great selections, the great prices, the great customer service. Gold and Diamond Source. Back in 3. Stay with us.
Old Hurricane Helene put a hurting on Tampa Bay, and for many of you, the rebuild will be a long process. You must beware of unscrupulous contractors offering up quick fixes for incredible prices. It's a scam. So go with long-standing, reputable companies like Third Generation Plumbing and AC. My friend John Rodriguez has been serving Tampa Bay since 1995 with hundreds of 5-star reviews. If you need a new AC system or any home repairs from Helene, they will work with insurance companies to get you taken care of quickly, expertly installed, of course, and a 1-year maintenance plan and 10-year warranty included on all AC units. 0% financing for 60 months. Contact them at thirdgenerationplumbing.com or 813-961-8024. That's 813-961-8024, thirdgenerationplumbing.com. So many of our Tampa Bay neighbors are finding out the hard way from Hurricane Helene that homeowners insurance does not cover flood damage. You must have flood insurance. It's a separate policy. Immediately call Italiano Insurance at 813-877-7799, and they will shop around to find the best policy before rates go up. Lock it in. Over 60% are underinsured in Florida, or you're not getting your discounts that you're entitled to. So do an insurance checkup at Italiano, and they could save you thousands of dollars. Italiano will make sure you're with a highly rated insurer, so there are no surprises in your time of need. Our hearts go out to all our neighbors devastated by Helene. These are the times we're proud to protect all the pieces of your life. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite.
I love it.
So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on this Liam Coen Thursday as he stays on with the Buccaneers. And we'll be the OC next year and for many years to come. Maybe the head coach, who knows? Who cares? On we go. As we hopefully get into the offseason where the Bucs can address all of their defensive needs. Tim Ham from our Dallas affiliate, DSP Media, joining me as well. I did see a couple other questions I wanted to get to. Somebody asked about Jamel Dean in this offseason. I think Jamel Dean will go the way of Carlton Davis, to be quite honest. I think there'll be a trade, if not a release. You got to take a closer look at his contract. Listen, I value Jamel Dean as a cover guy, but they've got to make some changes in that back end to get guys who can catch the freaking football and be aggressive in attacking the football, which they don't right now. So I think that's definitely one of the guys you may see go by the wayside. All right. As to your trivia question, somebody says John Fox.
John Fox.
That's a no.
John Fox. That is the one I knew would have never gotten.
Oh, because he took the Cardinals. I mean, not the Cardinals, the Panthers.
Panthers and the Broncos.
I totally forgot he coached the Broncos.
I did too.
I got another one. Dick Vermeil. Rams and Eagles.
Dick Vermeil is correct.
All right. Bill Parcells.
Bill Parcells is correct.
Okay.
So let's see. That gives us. We had John Fox, Dick Vermeil, Bill Parcells. We will take those off the board.
Shula, Andy Reid.
There are two left.
And
they're pretty recent ones. So, well, I say pretty recent for me and you, I guess.
Gosh, this is good. This is bothering me. Not Bears. Not. I'm trying to go through the what. I give up. Who are the other two?
Bring me the head of Dan Reeves.
Dan Reeves, right. That's right. Atlanta.
Atlanta and Denver. And then, JP, bring me the other head of Mike Holmgren.
Mike Holmgren. Green Bay and Seattle. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Isn't that crazy?
That's John Fox. I never would have got John.
I never would have got John Fox.
All right, that was fun. Let's keep doing.
You know what's funny? What's funny? Speaking of John Fox, I watched some of the Rich Eisen show the other day, and they had Mike Pereira on. You know, the Fox officiating guru that used to be an NFL referee and the head of the NFL referees. Rich Eisen asked him if his entire time that he was the head of NFL officiating, had an office, you know, at the league office there.
Right.
On Monday mornings when he would walk into work, what coach was it that he hated to hear from the most? Like that would wear him out the most every week? And he said, John Fox.
Really?
Surprisingly to me.
Wow.
He said he was relentless with his voicemails. And then when he called him back, he wouldn't get a word in edgewise for 20 minutes because every week John Fox would light him up over the phone.
Interesting.
Never would have guessed.
Yeah. And he did have a cantankerous side.
Yeah.
No
I can
doubt.
see it.
Cantankerous. There's another good boomer word for you. Cantankerous. Cantankerous. Absolutely. All right. So the Rays pissing match with St. Pete continues. I mean, this is now devolved into the most childish of back and forth letters. And here's and from 40,000 feet, can we just say this? Look at where we are right now. So we went 17 years trying to find a place for a ballpark. I'll do this just real quick. You know, in 2017, 2018, we had the Ybor City, and we finally were able to look in Hillsborough County because there was never, you know, the Rays said we're never going to do anything in St. Pete. We're never going to do it. It's not a major league city. Major League Baseball doesn't want it here. Finally got an opportunity to look in Hillsborough. They get the time. They only have like 6 months to put together a deal. They put together a deal when they finally picked the Ybor site. Okay, we have the press conference. Everybody loves it. It's a great plan. Great, everybody. And then in the 11th hour, Stu Sternberg says, once again, I'm taking my ball and going home because I don't want to pay. And I'm going to lie to everybody and say it's no corporate support. There's no money here, which was a lie. and didn't try to work it out. Like, let's figure it out. Let's get down in the muck and get it done. No, he's just taking his ball and going home because he's making too much money paying nothing at Tropicana Field and getting all the revenue sharing. So we do that. Then we go, we're going to do the Montreal thing. That was BS. Montreal, Tampa, or Montreal, St. Pete. I'm going to build 2 places out of public money, blah, blah, blah. Major League Baseball Players Association, never going to go along with that. Okay, now we're back to Tampa. Oh, okay, Tampa, why don't you give us a blank check? No, sorry, we're not going to do that. We'll partner with you, but we're not going to just give you a blank check. All right, well, let's go back to St. Pete. St. Pete, you give us a blank check. Okay, we will. And we'll give you all this. Oh, great. Really? You're going to do that? You're going to give us all this property and I can make billions of. Okay. Sure. St. Pete looks great now because you're going to give us all this upfront money. Okay. Here's your upfront money. No, don't want to do it. It's still too much money. I'm not going to agree to this. I mean, it's just ridiculousness. And it's all about Stu Sternberg. And we all know that now. Now Ken Rosenthal writes the piece, basically corroborating what we've been reporting for months. There's a group in Tampa. They want to buy the team. Stu's still driving a hard bargain. MLB wants him to sell the team so they can build in Tampa. The St. Pete deal is dead. Here's your money. Are you going to build? Nope, I'm not going to build. I mean, it's ridiculous. Now, so now it's devolved into let's fire off nasty letters to see who's going to get the upper hand in the legal battle. Because all this is now is a legal battle. There's no St. Pete Stadium. That's never going to happen. You know that. Because how can you build a stadium and have a $7 billion reconstruction, redevelopment of this entire area when none of the partners, the county, the city, or the Rays trust each other? And you can't even get through a possible rebuild of the Trop. So the latest thing is the Rays sent them a letter saying, oh, yeah, we told you not to rebuild the Trop. Well, now we want you to do it, and you got to get it done right now. So start spending money. So what does the city say? Well, we looked at the contract, and actually we don't have to have a deadline. It just says we have to do due diligence, diligently start the repairs, whatever the F that means. So this is just the city firing back at the city saying, oh, you're going to make us spend money right now? Well, guess what? We don't have to spend money right now. We're just going to wait you out till March 31st, the deadlines that you have to perform for this deal. I mean, it's all just a freaking pissing match now. And you know why? Because you have an owner that has always been about himself. And you know what the real shame is, Timmy, in this whole thing? Is that had we had a responsible owner and he'd done the deal with Hillsborough County in 2018, that we'd have been in that stadium for probably 2-3 years now. We wouldn't have to be worried about the Trop being blown away in a hurricane. The Trop site would already have been redeveloped with a Moffitt Cancer Center, a convention center, hotels. That for the last 5 years, there have been huge, high-paying jobs and redevelopments. And what really would have been fantastic for the city of St. Petersburg, like awesome, and awesome for the city of Tampa because we'd already have the stadium built. And who knows, the Rays may have won a World Series by now with the new revenue. Like all of those things could have happened, except for one greedy dude. And he's held up all of that construction in Tropicana Field. You want to talk about doing what's right for the city of St. Petersburg in the gas works and making it right and redeveloping those neighborhoods and African-American museums and affordable housing. You imagine what could have been done if they weren't giving billions of dollars in this deal that they're doing to the Rays? Can you imagine what could have happened in that Tropicana Field site right now? There'd be 3 more condo towers, tens of hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate tax revenue going back into St. Pete, real jobs, 365, 24/7 a year jobs in that area, more affordable housing in other places because the city would have made so much money off that property. All of this could have already happened except for one greedy dude. And where are you now? Stuck in a legal battle with that same guy. And you got no freaking stadium. That's where you are. There's an encapsulation. And it all comes down to one guy who's kept all of that from happening. And you know what? Nobody even and nobody in the media. Where are the media people who are investigating this guy who was sued by his partners? You didn't do any stories on that either. And you went into business with this guy. And this is what you get. Unbelievable. Unbelievable that we're at this point. And nobody writes a story about it. Takes Ken Rosenthal to come down here and do a story on how Sternberg is basically being told to sell the team now because Major League Baseball is so utterly embarrassed by all of it. Where's the local media on any of this? Crazy.
Doesn't Stu own the local media?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't be doing investigations and stories on this over his dealings with his ex-partners. I don't think I've ever seen a TV station do a story on it, ever. Except a cursory, hey, we read the complaint today. He got sued. No investigations of their own. No interviews, no nothing. Same with the Times, nothing. Do a couple stories here on whether it's going to be a jury trial or not. And it all leads to this business deal that went awry. That there was some people on the AP council raising the red flag saying, wait a minute, have you guys read this lawsuit? Do we want to get into business with these guys? Really? We want to get into the biggest public giveaway we've ever done in St. Pete Pinellas history with these folks? We can read the alleged lawsuit, what his partners said he did. We want to get into. Some people on the council raised that, but the other people were too busy with the pom-poms. Woo, the Rays are going to stay. Woo, woo, woo. They're going to stay. We're going to stay. Woo. What about the financial details? Oh, who cares? Woo, Rays are going to stay. It's going to be great for St. Pete. Woo. What about the public money and how it's the real estate deal and how much he's going to get and him? Who cares? Let's go Rays. Woo, they're staying. It's not my money. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. And so I feel terrible for the people of St. Petersburg that you're in this mess, but your leadership got you there. Your leadership went through with this whole deal, put this whole deal together that everybody was telling you was a horrible deal for taxpayers. Horrible deal. Worst they've ever seen in a public-private partnership. And here we are. Now we're just trading letters back and forth, trying to force the other one into a worse legal position. And nobody is talking about building a stadium or how we're going to get it done. It's now just a legal pissing match over millions of dollars of real estate. Great. And meanwhile, we're selling tickets like gangbusters. $30,000 season tickets are almost sold out. All the premium seating at George Steinbrenner Field, almost all sold out. Why is that, Tim?
Because people want to watch the Rays.
You think it has anything to do with location?
And it's in Tampa.
And anything to do with the companies actually are in Tampa that will be able to use these premium seatings for their clients instead of having to eat the tickets all the time because nobody wants to drive over to St. Pete?
Yep.
Wow.
Now imagine if you had a 45 to 50,000 seat stadium in Tampa for the Rays with nice luxury suites.
Wow. Imagine that. Imagine if it was like, I don't know, Ybor City, where it was like centrally located. Imagine, I bet corporations would pledge a lot of money for a stadium like that. Oh, wait a minute. They did that back in 2018. They pledged $160 million in premium seating. Oh, I didn't know that. I know, of course you didn't know that because they tell you that didn't exist, and that's a lie, another false narrative. Yeah. Shocking development. But anyway, here we are, and isn't it a sad place to be? A sad, sad place to be. And I feel bad because you know what? The entire franchise is still in limbo. We have no idea where they're going to play in 26, 27, 28. And let's just hope that this deal gets done. Yes, as Ken Rosenthal reported, that corroborating our reporting from months ago, there is a group in Tampa endeavoring to buy the team that wants to build in Tampa. And at this point, as Ken Rosenthal reported, and we have reported, and by the way, Ken Rosenthal is directly connected to the commissioner, all right, that there is groups actively trying to buy the team. They want to build in Tampa. The St. Pete deal, in my mind, and then from the Rays' mouth, is dead. And if you're the city and the county, why in the world would you ever want to move forward with this deal? And they don't. They're just forcing the Rays' hand so they hopefully don't get their hands on the real estate, which is still very much up in the air. But this is what the Rays are doing. They're trying to make it legally expensive for the city to get out of the deal so that they'll have to cut them a deal in some way, pay them to go away. That's the way it always works. So that's where we're at right now. Fantastic. Yes, and the price increases will come with the new stadium as well, but maybe not double and triple what some of these season ticket holders are seeing in Steinbrenner Field because of supply and demand. I get it, but the $100, $125 tickets are going fast. The $30,000 tickets are all sold out. Season tickets, how about that? Was it 104 dugout club tickets, 30,000 each, sold out. Wow. 117 of 121 home plate club tickets at 22,000 apiece, sold out. Loge boxes, 142 of 169 at 14,000 are sold out, soon to be sold out. And the 125, every time they make another group of tickets available, they pretty much sell out. So, shocking development. If they put the stadium in Tampa, they'll fill it up. And they'll make more money. Should have been done years ago. Years ago.
Think about where the team would be now if that had gone through, 7 years ago.
And think about where Ybor City would be in terms of the redevelopment of Ybor City. How many jobs in the building of that stadium, and then what would be around it right now, because it will have been, started in 2019. Think of what that would look like. Think of, you're talking about millions of dollars of redevelopment. Great paying jobs that would have happened in Tampa. And think of what the Trop site would be right now.
Yeah.
Rick Kreisman's vision, and already had a deal done, right? That was, I think it was with Moffitt Cancer Center. They were bringing in a huge medical hub partner, condos, grocery retail, and then the money that they would have made in selling off those parcels, they could have put into building huge affordable housing in other places in St. Petersburg instead of, an outlay of $1.6 billion, which is what this current deal is in public money. When you add in the interest payments and all the other infrastructure payments that are all going, and you're not getting any revenue from the Rays, you, instead of that, having built all this other stuff where you're getting revenue instead of paying revenue, it's like a $3 billion wash. Instead of 1.6 going out, you're getting 1.6 coming in or more. And just think of what would be there on that site right now, already built. And the amount, and what that means to the people of St. Petersburg. And the reason you don't have it is because of one greedy dude. Man. And nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it. And you juxtapose that with what Jeffrey Vinnick has done for the city of Tampa and Water Street. Completely transformed the downtown. Completely transformed it. And you talk about the wealth that has been created, more downtown housing, more restaurants, more jobs, all that stuff it was just desperately needed in these times. All of that, that's the way you're supposed to do it, as opposed to what we've had. And that's what leadership, the difference leadership and compassion and looking at the whole instead of what's in it for me. It's a pretty huge difference, and it's a shame. It's a shame of what we're dealing with. Denver, welcome in, by the way. Denver Harden says, I'm glad Tampa's showing up, even though Stu is an idiot. We're just proving where the stadium should be built. Did that go up? I don't know if I did. Mike H says, Stu is a joke, but St. Pete City officials need to be held accountable for dealing with the devil. Does Stu still get the land around the Trop? Mike, the answer to that is we don't know. That question was asked in one of the county commission meetings, and I think it was the city or county attorney said it's unclear. If they don't live up to their agreements, they're part of it. It's unclear whether they still get the redevelopment rights, which means it's going to court, and the city will probably have to give up, probably have to pay the Rays to go away. which, again, Major League Baseball should step in and make sure that doesn't happen. All right. Any other comments we need to go to there, Timmy?
Yeah, Denver Harden, welcome to the show, brother. I'm glad Tampa is showing up, even though Stu's an idiot. We're just proving where the stadium should be built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hernando says, let me see this one as well. It would be too easy for the Seminoles to buy the Rays. Yes, it would. But I think Major League Baseball with the Seminoles' interest in Hard Rock and gambling, I think there would be some issues there, even though a lot of those doors have, I think, opened for gambling, obviously, in the past few years. But I think there's ways around it.
It's not the roadblock it used to be.
No, and I think there's a ways around it too, where Hard Rock and Seminoles could be involved, but not directly own the team. Stay tuned on that.
Yeah. JP's got all the insight.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, let's call it a day, my friend. Great job. Thank you guys for commenting. All of you guys. Our thanks to Scott Reynolds for coming on, giving us his perspective on the Liam Coen situation. We will be back tomorrow. We've got a couple of things planned for you that I'm working on. And we'll see where the whole Liam Coen thing is at that point in terms of, I don't think the Raiders will be calling, but you never know. We'll see what they're doing as well. Have a great day, everybody. And we'll talk some more Bolts tomorrow as well. See you then.